This COVID-19 is a mess, and I'm just going to be honest. We as a church, we're just trying to figure this all out too. We're thankful for the opportunity to do online church, and we're going to continue to do that. But it's just not the same as being together in church. The word church actually means a called out assembly, literally, the idea of us being together. And as we've been trying to figure out the leadership of our church, to figure out what are we going to do and how are we going to handle this as a church, we had to ask ourselves just a basic question, and it's this: is church essential or is it not? I mean, as we look at our world around us, we see that we're going to work, and we see that many are going to the grocery and participating in sports and shopping and going to restaurants. And somehow it just doesn't feel right to not provide people with an opportunity to come to church. So we're going to begin in-person services next Sunday. That being said, one thing that we recognize is that COVID-19 is real. And we're all beginning to see people who we know who have been affected by this. People in our church and people who you know, I'm sure, as well. So the question is, how can we meet but do it as safely as possible? Our leadership team has kind of made the decision that what we're going to do is we're going to follow the guidelines set in place by the state. And what that means is face masks and social distancing. So let me just say this. I hate wearing a mask. I hate it as much as anybody else does. But the reality is that we're wearing masks when we go to work, we're wearing masks when we go to stores, we're wearing masks when we go to restaurants, we're wearing masks in every other area of our lives. Is this an inconvenience? Yes, it is. But I'll be honest, you know, I visited Nepal last year, and I was standing in church with an elderly gentleman who got up at 4 o'clock in the morning and walked 6 hours to come to church. And whenever I think about what he wanted to do in order to be to church, the idea of wearing a mask in church for me, while it's inconvenient and I don't like it, it's something that I'm willing to do. So what we're going to do is, we're going to, from this point forward, beginning next Sunday, we're making face masks and social distancing mandatory the entire time that we're in the building. So face masks will be worn the entire time that we are together in the building. Why are we doing that? One, we want to provide a safe environment. And two, I want to respect the fact that there are people in our church. I recognize that people have all kinds of different feelings about what this is. Is it real? Is it not real? Are face masks effective? Are they not effective? Is this a political thing? Is it driven? You know, we're not going to get into any of that. The reality is that there are brothers and sisters in Christ that we sit next to every Sunday, and there are many of them who are afraid to come to church because they're concerned that we won't provide a safe environment. Just yesterday at our food ministry, there was a gentleman who said that he would like to come to church, but he was afraid that it would not be a comfortable environment for him. And we want to do what we can to provide that. You may not be concerned about all the rules or may not be concerned about this personally, but I'm going to ask you to be concerned about the feelings of the person you sit next to in church every Sunday. I want to provide an environment, and we as a leadership team want to provide an environment where they can come to church and feel comfortable that they can come to church in an environment that feels safe to them. We've always tried to do that in every aspect of our lives, of our church, to provide an environment where people can come and can worship and feel comfortable. And so we're going to do that. So in summary, we're going to practice what God tells us in His Word. We're going to be willing to set aside our own rights and our own thoughts and our own ideas for others. I'll be honest with you. I don't wear a mask because I'm afraid of what will happen to me if I don't wear a mask. I wear a mask to respect those around me. And I hope that you will be willing to do the same. So in summary, next week we're going to be back in person. We're still going to be doing online church. If you are not comfortable wearing a mask, we respect that. This is hard for us. We just have to come up with some guidelines, and this is what we're doing. And we respect if you feel differently. And if you're not comfortable, join us online. If you're experiencing symptoms or have been diagnosed or sick, we invite you to join us online. If you're in a high-risk group, we invite you to join us online. But if you would like to come and worship, we will provide an opportunity for you to do that in a safe, as comfortable way as we can. So, next week, face masks will be mandatory during the entire service. If you don't have face masks or forget one, we provide them when you walk in the door. They're right by the door. We're going to ask that you respect social distancing. There are some people, this is hard for me to say because I love to see people shaking hands. I love people hugging each other. But right now, during this time, we need to respect the fact that there are fears and concerns about this. So we're going to ask that you respect social distancing and no hugs or handshakes. You can air high five. You can text each other. You can stand 6 feet apart, social distance with your mask on, and you can tell each other that you love each other. That's great. But we're going to respect their feelings as well. So I hope you understand this is not a circumstance that any of us wants to be in, and hopefully it's something that's temporary. But we want to continue to meet in person, and we also want to provide an environment where people who have these concerns, and many of us do, can feel comfortable coming and worshiping God. I thank you for being a church that's always understanding, and I thank you for being a church that I know that will respect this. And I'm looking forward to next Sunday getting together and seeing you in person. It is so much more awesome when we are in this place and when we're singing and worshiping together. I love seeing you. So next week we're going to begin that. God bless you. We're so glad that you joined us. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to anybody on the leadership team. We'll look forward to seeing you next Sunday at 10:30. Again, if you're not comfortable with that, that's fine. We'll look forward to seeing you online. Have a great week as we're dismissed with a song.